I just want to give an update from the homicide that we had on 265 and 464 earlier this week on Monday. We do have an update for that case. We did make 2 arrests. The first individual that was arrested in this case is the first of Luis, Lincoln Union, Ida Sam, middle of Antonio, Adam Nora, Tom Ocean Nora, Ida Ocean, last of Rodriguez, Robert Ocean David, Robert Ida George, Union Edward Sam, DOB of 128 of 93, a 27-year-old male. The second arrest we made in this case is first of Adam, common spelling, middle of Christopher, common spelling, last of Zorbel. Sam Ocean, Robert Boy, Edward Lincoln, with a date of birth of 11/25 of 81, 38-year-old male. Both subjects in this case are charged with 4 counts. First count is first-degree premeditated murder. Second count is murder again in the first-degree commission of a crime. That ties to the third count of kidnapping in the first degree. And count 4 is commit or attempt to commit a felony with a firearm. After we initially received the call at 11 o'clock on Monday, investigators began processing the scene. We had a great assistance from Sioux Falls Police Department, DCI, narcotics, warrant task force throughout this investigation. We do have a limited number of detectives, and when a case like this goes on, the public did a great job of providing tips, and we kept working through the night, Monday, Tuesday, and then finished last night where these 2 individuals were interviewed. And then subsequently, the arrest warrants came out this afternoon. We're still investigating the case, possible additional arrests to be made. But at this time, these 2 individuals are the only ones charged in this matter. I really want to stress again, detectives, especially for the Sheriff's Office, work diligently through this case, long into the hours, early morning hours, several nights, and the Sheriff's Office is very proud of the results that they're able to obtain. We can get closure, hopefully, for the victims, give them some answers. That all takes time, but like I said, the investigation is still ongoing. Additional arrests could be made. Is there any questions in regards to this case?
Is there more than one victim?
Is there more than one victim?
Yes.
No.
So did we ever get clarification when he was shot to death? Was it Sunday night then?
We believe Sunday night around, possibly somewhere around 11 o'clock. There was a report of those gunshots, and we believe that time frame to be pretty accurate. We also have some information that kind of puts them in the area or leaving the area soon after that, so that time frame is pretty close.
So he was actually killed in that location?
He was shot at that location.
Okay.
And are both them from Sioux Falls?
Both the individuals are from residents of Sioux Falls.
And are you elaborating on the connection, motivation? I know that comes out in trial and so on, but what is,
Yeah.
Is there a connection between these 3 men?
They did know each other, briefly per se, maybe, and through the affidavit you'll probably see of kind of the relationships, but they all did know each other. Now for how amount of time, that's to be determined. Some of that will come out later on in the court proceedings.
So was this drug related?
Drugs probably played a factor in this. There's a lot of factors, and some of those we might not ever exactly know the thinking of what was going on, but I would say drugs are possibly involved, and maybe had a little bit of factor of kind of what happened, but again, that answer I don't know we'll ever truly get, but that's something we keep looking into of the reasons of why and how, and that's something that will come up in the court proceedings also.
But it wasn't like a drug ring or anything?
Not that I'm aware of.
Gang involvement?
No. No gang involvement that we know of, no.
It's gotta be a relief, as the sheriff's office always does, find your guy, or in this case, man, and it might make it more difficult than an outdoor, I think, random site, you know, as opposed to a home and all that, but to wrap it up so quickly, it's gotta be satisfying, or what's your thoughts today?
It's been a long few days for all of us, and I think after a couple of days of, getting some sleep and kind of realizing what has transpired, for the residents of Minnehaha County, especially in that rural of an area, that's not something that's why you move out into those areas. And this was, at the time, this was a whodunit, if you want to label it that, an individual that is left laying in a ditch with no car, no identifiers. And so from the ID section of the Sioux Falls Police Department to the on-scene deputy treated that scene like that, and that was very crucial. We'll get more evidence later on that we send out to the state lab, but it's one of those where you have to have all hands on deck to really start. I'd probably guess 50 to 60 interviews at least in the first couple of days of really trying to find out tips from the public, trying to organize that. There's a lot of moving parts, and to keep those all fresh in everybody's mind and keep people going that are working 20, 30 hours straight, it's a difficult time. And then having those individuals do interviews, and so very proud of what they have done, and we're able to, get a little bit of closure, hopefully for the family, and still maybe some subsequent arrests. We'll see where that leads us here in the future.
Did any one thing break the case for the sheriff's office?
I think a case like this, it's a lot of small, intricate things that just kind of have add up, and like the Crime Stoppers tip, there wasn't one per se that led us in a way, but it kind of matched up with what we were already gathering, and when somebody tells you something, to find out if that's the truth, you have to take all the other pieces and kind of coincide and match those up, and that's what was, I think, probably beneficial. A lot of small, minute things that painted the big picture.
Why do you think this was possibly premeditated?
That's kind of the ruling of the state's attorney's office. They're reviewing our affidavit, some of the information that we got from the interviews would lead them to believe, and that's why they charged that. And that's something you'll probably have to see in the affidavit to really get that determination of maybe why they thought that.
So there really isn't, at this point, a possibility of a motive?
Yeah, I think we have our beliefs and reasonings of why, but that's something, again, I think that truly will probably come out in the trial of why it was done. We don't have a definite, it was because of this reason, but we have our thoughts, so. Anything else?
It might be similar to kind of what you just said, but have they, I'm not sure if you've gotten to speak with them, have they explained what they said happened, or they?
The two individuals that were arrested, yes, they did. Yes.
Is it possible to share what they?
I'm not going to share that. I'd be up here for a long time to kind of, I think the best look at that is probably the affidavit and kind of taking what you want from that.
How many times was he shot?
An estimated 4 to 5 times. I don't have the exact number, and we're still kind of looking at that.
Close range? How close do you think the assailants were?
Again, that's something that, like if it's in a residence or a car, you can really use some determining factors of walls and spacing and those kinds of things. Where the body was located and where we found casings is a good determination of distance per se, an estimated, and then that's where the coroner's report kind of comes in, and angles and things like that. I can't give you a range, but I'd say anywhere from close proximity to 15 feet.
Were any weapons found yet or recovered?
We have seized numerous weapons.
Okay.
In this case, that's where the state lab, DNA, and all that kind of come into play to see if any of these weapons that we have obtained through search warrants are ones related to this crime.
The two gentlemen that were pulled out of the location where everybody was at, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Were there weapons discovered in that location, or were there weapons discovered in other locations?
You're talking about, I think, our
Bluebird.
Bluebird, so that's something I kind of left out. In this, when we're doing numerous interviews, detectives are upstairs doing those. We need some assistance, and that's where the Sioux Falls PD SWAT team, the Minnehaha County Sheriff's Office SWAT team, a lot of our surveillance units. We did execute a search warrant on Bluebird. I believe probably about the 5700 block of Bluebird, where we executed a search warrant. As soon as we got there, it was pretty instantaneous that the individuals inside that residence came out. But I'm not going to disclose what we found inside that residence.
Anything new on the fair stabbing?
No. Nothing additional. They're up there working on it right now, and so we did get a couple more additional phone calls, so anything the public can assist on that. I mentioned it earlier, but the little things like we talked about are crucial in a case like that or any case. So.